All right, and welcome back. It's now just about 20 minutes to 8 o'clock right here on Morning Express. And as promised earlier, we're going to be looking at Jenga Jirani Charity Festival that will be coming up. And of course, we'd like to first of all just get to understand what Jenga Jirani, or also, highlighted as JJI, is all about. So joining me to have that conversation, we're joined by Jonathan Jackson, who's the chair of Jonathan Jackson Foundation, also the Jenga Jirani Initiative. And we are also joined by Njugush from Kubamba Trust, who is a partner. Gentlemen, thank you for joining us this morning. So I'll start with you, Jonathan Jackson, and maybe just give us an overview what Jenga Jirani is all about.
Okay, well, it's obviously an initiative which we are doing to help our neighbors and to support our neighbors, from the name, of course. So I'm a Kenyan. I was born here in Kenya. I did my business in Europe. I then brought my investment from Europe. I brought it back to Kenya, and I've invested my money now into Kenya and doing business here. I support a lot of charities around the world, but decided to try and do something here in Kenya. And this was, so I started a foundation called Jonathan Jackson Foundation. And with this foundation, we try to go to help the youth in the communities around Nairobi to help economic employment. And that's what we were doing for about a year. And then, we've had some great examples, which you can see online on our website, of how effective that has been. Right. And we also bought a football club, Nairobi City Stars. And so when the COVID-19 started here, we decided to, because we couldn't continue our work with the youth in groups in the communities, we decided to actually try and help out, because so many unemployed people, huge hunger, they were not able to support their families, the elderly and the sick. So we started to help to bring food to these communities and to these very vulnerable sick people, right, and started distributing it. And then we were working with different organizations, and we've worked with Light for the World and the National Business Compact for Coronavirus and other groups like this. And one of the groups we started to work with was Kubamba Trust. And it was such a good partnership, because what we were doing was we were bringing food and bringing food into the house, into the people's homes. And it was, that's a great feeling of actually giving and actually helping somebody. Right. But when you actually come with a group like Kubamba Trust, and who are a youth group, a Christian youth group, and they come in and pray with the people who you're meeting and actually mentor them and actually show their love for them, I tell you, it's a very, very different reaction.
And I'm sure very fulfilling as well.
It's amazing.
Let me hear from Njugush from Kubamba Trust. And Njugush, I know you've been, doing quite a number of things, particularly with the youth. And what made you feel that, getting together with Jonathan Jackson Foundation was a good initiative? And what gap were you looking at filling, the objective of the partnership?
Let me say thank you very much for having us this morning on the mic. Indeed, it's an amazing initiative. And for us as Kubamba, it was the heartbreak of what was happening and the effects of the COVID-19. Just seeing how many people had lost their jobs, how many people without income, and what can we do? It's really bad, even as we speak. And having been on the ground and seeing people not even being able to afford a basic meal. Well, thank God the landlords were appealing against rent, but they're okay, we're home, but there's nothing to eat. And we're like, what can we do? And so, we were like, okay, if anyone who's doing that would like to come along and just help take a package of food. But beyond food, just let them know there is hope for tomorrow. There are people who care. There are people who, who are trying to do the little that they can. And so that's how we got in touch with Jonathan Jackson. And what I loved about this whole idea, it was not a touch and go. I think for us, that's what drew us to the whole initiative and to the Jonathan Jackson Foundation. It was not about their brand. It was not about being seen and, like, hey, we are doing good, so hey, we are good. No, it was about genuinely trying to help Kenyans who are going through a hard time. And so I think that really drew us in, and we started. And, it's been amazing being into many homes. And I think Jonathan Jackson will share the numbers. But just that package that someone receives and says, someone actually cares for me, someone actually there loves me, and that gives someone a reason to hope for a better tomorrow. And given the situation in the country, many people are hopeless and like, who cares? I mean, and many people are at that suicidal point, and just receiving that package as a family, as a community, give them a reason to hope for a better tomorrow. And that keeps us going and doing what we can with the matches we've been entrusted with.
Right, and we'll come to maybe your suggestions on more permanent solutions, particularly now that you interact with some of these people. You're probably able to give a very detailed account of what possibly needs to be done permanently. But before we get there, Jonathan, you have interacted with communities, and how would you rate the impact of COVID-19? As we know, this is a global pandemic, but now that you've been on the ground, and in Kenya we say vitu kwa ground who are different, but what is your assessment of the impact of COVID-19?
The biggest impact is unemployment, and because the people living in the communities live on a day-to-day existence, they therefore don't have money. They don't have the day-to-day income, so they don't have the money to buy food to put on the table. And that's their biggest concern and worry. And even yesterday I was with Njigush, and we were in the communities in Mathare and other locations, and we were just, it's just really, really tough. I mean, we were going in there, and they literally, as we give their food there and we pray with them, they're in tears and just crying. Nobody's caring for them. The government have brought them water, sanitization equipment and things, but no one's bringing them real food and actually bringing it to their house. So the demand is huge, and of course, as we walk through the communities, everybody's asking us to give them food, but they do appreciate, they super appreciate the fact that that there's somebody and there's a group of people who are actually bringing food for their really sick and their really elderly. Because as you know, in the communities, they really care for each other. They really look after each other. But when they have no money and when there's no jobs, and this is a problem, they still are suffering greatly.
Absolutely. And I can see that you've managed to raise previously over 25 million worth of, whether it's cash or food, which you've been able to distribute that. How did you manage to do that?
So, well, I mean, I have a very good business. I have been investing in Europe, and as I said, I'm investing my money back in here in this country. So we've done both a combination of working with groups like Light for the World and other international groups have helped to donate. But yes, I've done a lot myself, and what we have actually, and you talk about that amount of food, but what's more important is that we've actually been able to reach over 2 million people. So we've actually now distributed to over 2 million people, have actually meals, 2 million meals.
Right.
But the demand is still there, and I was actually thinking, so how are we going to raise more money, and how we can do it? And as you know, all companies now, they've already given enough. The companies are suffering themselves. The agencies are suffering. We went to all the big international agencies, and they said, our donors are not really donating anymore. We're having our own problems, so we can't help you. And so I said, okay. I said to Njigush, I said, look, you guys, you do your concerts with all gospel artists, and I said, look, why don't we do a concert and actually try to raise money through a concert? And then I spoke to one of my friends from Africa-Centric Entertainment who do these festivals, and he said, Jonathan, and so, yes, my target was to get 1 million Kenyans to give 100 shillings. Now, 100 shillings is really affordable. It's very easy. It's a tip in a restaurant.
Right.
It's nothing. It's you pay for parking in the shopping centre. And we just said, so if we could get 1 million Kenyans to give 100 shillings, we could have such an impact, and we could help other agencies, not just Jonathan Jackson Foundation and Kubamba. We could help other CBOs all across Kenya who are, because it's not just in Nairobi, it's all across Kenya, we're facing these troubles. So we've now contacted over 15 different similar agencies and CBOs like ours across Kenya, and we're together as the beneficiaries. We're looking to try to raise this money through a festival. So we're putting this festival together, which is going to be amazing. It's a 2-day festival. We're looking for top quality music and artists. And if you go online now, you will see the artists that we've got in our social media. We've even taken these artists last week and this week into the communities, and actually they've come with us and actually delivered the food with us into the communities. And you can see it all on their social media. You can see what they're doing. And these artists, we have 60 artists, 60, who are going to be in this festival. It's a Saturday and it's a Sunday. It's the 7th and 8th of November, so it's only a week and a half away. And it will be a fantastic event. And our main push is to ask, please donate 100 shillings, and you can go online and see how to do that. But we'll be giving all of that information during next week. We're getting a lot of promotion going out. And that 100 shillings goes a long, long way when all of us come together, as Kenyans come together, we can really make a big difference.
Okay, and Jugush, maybe to bring you in here, we know that the entertainment world is one that we can really leverage on to ensure that we have a positive impact to the community. Maybe we have some artists who are out there who possibly would want to participate for this good cause. What advice would you give them to be part of this, Jenga Jirani Charity Festival?
Wow. First I think music or artists, the wanasemanga wasanii ndio kio ya jamii, and that's why we are glad to be working with these artists, because then they really will get to paint the image on the ground. And that's why we went to them, to the communities, because unfortunately many people are living in a bubble that, well, I can afford a meal. Yes, I don't have my watchman and the house help does not come as often, but I can afford a meal. And so we're really hoping that they can really paint the picture on the ground. Because sababu vile umesema kwa ground, mambo is different. And it's really heartbreaking, Mike. I wish you came with us yesterday. And for us, it's just to say, we're just trying to be the voice for the voiceless. That there are people in the communities across this country who are really suffering. And I know there's a lot of noise going around in the country, BBI and all these other things, and we are kind of forgetting the people on the ground. And so we're just trying to be the voice to the voiceless and say, hey, the little you have will go a long way. That 100 bob can go a long way. And so for the artists, hey, who are there, please, you can get in touch with us, log on to the website. We'll be giving out details about that. And, you can participate where you are first by watching, retweeting our content. If you can come up with a song that talks about Jenga Jirani, how you can, Jenga Jirani, because everyone has a neighbor. And the greatest mission field is the pastor next to you. So across this country, there's any artist watching, you can be part of the festival. You don't have to be singing on the festival, but you can do your own thing, push the message of Jenga Jirani. We have a sign, it's called show some love. And so if you can do and make people aware about the concert on the 7th and the 8th, please join the movement. It's not about Kubamba, it's not about Jonathan Jackson Foundation. No, it's about every Kenyan, and especially those who have been adversely affected by the COVID-19 and cannot put food on the table. And by the way, we have 3 pillars. So we're not just giving food. And I like the question that you asked, and I would want Jonathan just to address that. But we have 3 pillars that we are addressing. So we just don't want to give food. We want to make sure we give you food, and also try and see how can we have sustainable initiatives that will help our fellow brothers and sisters beyond the food package to be able to have a sustenance. And maybe I'll hand over to Jonathan Jackson, or otherwise known as Kiblimo, as he was born in Eldoret, to share about
and it does, as it does that, Jonathan, just to emphasize that since you're in touch and you're on the ground, you're able to interact with some of these people and possibly give advice on more permanent solutions, because it's all good to raise money, but it's not sustainable over the long term. So what do you see as a good plan to have some of these people lifted from a position where they cannot afford a meal on their table to where now they can actually be self-sufficient?
So thank you. I mean, that's something that's on my mind and Kubamba's mind all the time. And as I said to you, the charity I started a year and a half ago was all about how to bring sustainable economic employment to the people in the communities and how they can build themselves out of the communities, out of the poverty. So we've already done a huge amount of work in terms of working with communities. And I can say, like, for example, one group, and I'm not trying to reinvent the wheel. What we do is we go in and we work with youth groups in the communities and say to them, so what are you doing? How can we help you? And we found this one CBO which was cutting hair. And we said to him, that's a great idea. What do you do? He said, I give them a certificate and hope they find a job. We came in and said, look, instead of just doing 5 people and giving them, please can you teach 20 youth, and when they finish and they pass, we'll give them shears, scissors, combs, and a package which they can go out and actually earn their own income. And now they've done over 200 youth that they have actually trained, and they've all had a package. They've all started their own businesses. They're earning their own income. They're putting food on their own table. And that's really what we're trying to do. And I can give you, we have so many more, and you will see in the festival and in the promotions we're doing, the number of different initiatives we're doing to help bring sustainable income to those people, and they can put food on their tables.
Right.
And there are a lot of, and when we've gone around the country to look for other CBOs we can work with, that's been one of our key questions. What are you doing to help sustainable economic development for those groups? And one of the pillars is really to help pregnant teenage mothers. And as you know, there's been a huge increase across Kenya in teenage pregnancies. And so what we're doing is to see how we can help that group of people specifically. And they're amazing. There's so many, I mean, Kenyans, we love to help and support each other.
Right.
It's an amazing part of Kenyan heart and love and care for each other. And that's what we're asking. Please donate 100 shillings.
Right.
We will share that across the whole of Kenya, but to be able to, those agencies can actually build these sustainable programs,
right,
so that we're not just having to give food and then after 1 week they have no more food.
Yeah, they have no more food.
Exactly.
And Jugush, I know you deal a lot with Christian organizations and the youth, and you know, you probably have a lot of experience on this. What would your message of hope be to those who would want to participate, particularly from Christian circles, maybe churches, organizations, NGOs that would want to do this? Because other than just give them food, one of the other things I would imagine that they need, that is a huge ingredient, is hope.
Very true. And indeed, what we're saying, Jenga Jirani is not just an initiative, it is a movement. It is open to anyone who wants to build a neighbor, who wants to love on their neighbor. The golden rule that applies to all religions, it doesn't matter which religion you subscribe to, is love your neighbor as you love yourself, or do unto others as you want done unto you. That cuts across. And so mine is to encourage any church, any NGO, you know, you have a part to play. Join the movement. What's the much you can do in Jenga Jirani, and indeed in the communities. And the thing is, with most churches and NGOs, they have spaces. If they can open up their spaces, if they can open up their spaces to us, even when we're coming to the community. You know, again, when we put Haba Jaza Kibaba, you know, your 100 bob and our 100 bob, when we put it together, we'll be able to do much more. So we're inviting as many NGOs, you know, Christian, non-Christian, whatever NGO or church, to come alongside and say, how can we help our brothers and sisters at such a time as this? Because for real, let me not lie to you, Mike, and I'll keep insisting, for ground different. But when we come together, great things happen. You know, your 100 bob, my 100 bob, your church space, that counselor, you know, as we're taking the food round, praying with, for those people who could have been involved with gender-based violence, and people who can give them that psychosocial support. So there's a lot that is happening, and we need every Kenyan on board. And we are thankful that, you know, Standard Group as a whole, you know, have joined the initiative and said we want to be counted as those people who Jenga Jirani even at such a time as this. And so if anyone wants to get in touch with us, we'll put our details out there. They can come and say, hey, I want to be part of this initiative, because it's not just a one-off. We want it to be a movement. So after this, kila mtu aendelee kujenga jirani and showing some love. And if that happens, Kenya will definitely be a better place.
Absolutely. And Jonathan, maybe for the those who may feel that we've had so many charity organizations and we've had quite a number of initiatives to do this, how would you say that Jenga Jirani is different? What's the difference between those and Jenga Jirani?
I think for Jenga Jirani, there's a lot of things we're doing the same, which is actually giving, donating food. I think one of the things, a lot of groups are just sending donations through SMS and through the media, through M-Pesa, sending the donations. And it's very, very different between somebody receiving money on an M-Pesa and rather than actually having somebody visit them in their homes and actually praying with them and showing their care and showing their love. And this is a huge difference. We've also seen politicians who've come with a lorry, opened up the lorry and just dumped all the food, and there's a fight for the food.
Right.
We don't do that. We spend 3 days preparing for it. We get a list from the local community leaders of all the people that need food in the area. We give it to our football players. Our football players come from these communities, they live in these communities, and they go around house to house to check, are these people really sick? Are they really ill? Do they really need food? We then have a short list. We then call each one of them and just to see, does this person really exist? Are they really ill? Then we have the final list, and that's the list. And because of the communities that we work with and the youth that we work with in these communities, we pay them a day's salary to help us distribute the food. And because of this sort of community involvement, we've never lost a single bag, and we actually walk into the communities, and they are really very grateful and very, very helpful to us and to allow us to be, and we're so grateful and humbled that they allow us to come to their homes and into their homes and actually deliver the food and pray with them.
All right. And Jugush, there are those who may feel that I don't have money that I can give towards this. Are there any other ways that one can participate and be part of this great move, even if it is not monetary?
Yes, I mean, yeah, everyone has something to give. No one can say they have nothing to give. So for sure, everyone has something to do. One is make noise about it, tell someone else about it. You may not have something to give, but you can tell someone about Jenga Jirani initiative and tell them, hey, mom, hey, dad, or, hey, friends, can we come together? And, I have 20 shillings and we put it together and we get our 100 bob. So you can tell people about it, make noise about it, repost, posters and all that and our promos, and they can visit our Facebook and Instagram pages and Twitter pages, Jenga Jirani. They can search for Jenga Jirani Festival and they will find us there. And number two is in kind. There are people who say, okay, well, I don't have money, but I have 2 kgs of unga. I would like to give some. I would like to give of my time to, as we're going to be going across the country, I want to come alongside, help carry, help package. So people can volunteer of themselves. People can ask their companies to come and say, well, I don't know anything, but I'll talk to my boss and see what we can do. So guys can give in kind. Guys can give of themselves, and also prayer would go a long way, because indeed there are many people who are going through a lot. And so say, as a Kenyan, I'm going to pray for my fellow Kenyans who are going through a hard time. And some of them is not because they wanted to. Like one of the situations we met yesterday, and I think that really touched me, was a lady who is from Vihiga, living in Mathare. And there she is. I mean, like she was going to help a neighbor during this whole COVID crisis. And she stepped on a nail and now she can't move, she can't work. But guess who's taking care of her? There's a Kikuyu woman. And she told us, all the Luya women around me have not taken care of me. But this lady who's Kikuyu always brings me porridge in the morning. And that's what happens. So the Kenyans are taking care of each other in the village and in the communities. And mine is to ask if other Kenyans can pray for those who are going through a hard time, and also see what can I do to help my neighbor.
All right, and Jonathan, let's talk about the festival that's coming up, because that's the clarion call and the point that's bringing everybody together. What should one expect out of the concert?
Okay, thank you. That's what I wanted to add. Yes, this is a festival. It's not a concert. It's a 2-day festival. It's online. So you basically go to the app, which will be Jenga Jirani Charity Festival, and from there you will be able to go in to see 3 stages, which are all on YouTube. They'll all be shown on YouTube. And Safaricom is kindly giving us that bundle free, so you don't have to pay to watch the YouTube. And this is a great benefit that is giving. So everybody across the whole country can watch it, and we thank Safaricom for that. And so what you will see is 3 stages. There's a gospel stage, a secular stage, and there is a lifestyle stage. And they're all running simultaneously. So, and that's over 3 hours. And we are very grateful to Standard Group. We'll be showing half of that period will be actually on TV. So between the 7 o'clock and the 9 o'clock news, it will be on Standard Group TV. The show will be, and you can watch it either online or on TV, and that's on the 7th and the 8th of November. Not this weekend, but next weekend. And we have an amazing arrangement of artists and singers, and it's just been so interesting that even when they've come into the communities, you know, of course, when they take their masks off, everyone recognizes them, and it's been a great interaction between the communities and themselves, and they've been incredibly, well, as I said, we Kenyans, we really care and love for each other.
Right.
And it's an amazing thing to see these artists come in who don't need to come and walk into the communities and help distribute food, but they do. And they're bringing, you know, their heart to it as well. And as Njugush said, we've come up with this sort of logo. It's like this, you know, it's Jenga Jirani, show some love.
All right, and Njugush, as you wind up your closing remarks, and just to, you know, give us a taste of what to expect from the festival.
Well, all I can say is what we're excited about the festival. It's been a long time coming. Got to send a big shout out to ACE, Africa-Centric Entertainment, and all the other partners, and even most of the artists who've come. And the good thing about this festival is not just any other festival, is artists who are saying we know the impact of not having anything on our plates, but more importantly, there are other Kenyans like us who are suffering, and we want to give of ourselves. So we have our talents and gifts, the comedians and the people in the lifestyle stage, all are saying, want to come together and give what we have. And they're not singing from here now, they're singing from here because they've gone to the communities and seen what Kenyans are going through. And so as they sing, they're singing from here saying, I really want to give my best, so that then Kenyans can give that 100 bob, and that 100 bob will feed and change a family, not just for now, but for eternity. Because we're not just giving food. As I said, we have sustainable projects, and even some of the interventions with some of the people who've gone through, gender-based violence and the teen pregnancies, that intervention will help them face the life ahead of them. And so that's all I'm excited about. So it's not just any other festival. It is one with a difference, one with purpose, and that's all about Jenga Jirani and showing some love. So I'm hoping every Kenyan can tune in to KTN. That's on 7th and 8th, 7:30 to between that window of 7:30 to 8:50, and watch live or go on to Facebook for the Jenga Jirani Charity Festival and give not just 100 bob. If you can give more, cheers, man. It will go a long way to helping our fellow brothers and sisters across this country.
Absolutely. Jonathan, your closing remarks?
I'm just so grateful to work with so many Kenyan groups, and Kubamba have been amazing partners, and who have for 15 years been working with youth in the different communities all across Kenya and schools across Kenya. And I just ask people to come in and just join us, be part of this, and be part of the many other groups that we're going to be supporting across the whole of Kenya. And we really ask, please do come in, give that 100 shillings or more, and donate it, and follow us and watch this festival. It's going to be an amazing content, and it's being very, very well produced. So you'll really enjoy it as well. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Jonathan Jackson, there, Chair of Jonathan Jackson Foundation and Jenga Jirani Initiative. Also, thank you, Njugush from Kubamba Trust, joining us this morning just to give us more info on Jenga Jirani Charity Festival that's going to be happening. 3 stages, 2 days, over 50 Kenyan acts. And you too can be a participant and join in to ensure that you Jenga Jirani and make that difference. For now, we're going to take a short break right here on Morning Express, but do stay with us. When we come back, back. Trix is going to be talking about cyber security and find out how safe are you, particularly when you are online on different platforms. Now that the world has gone online, particularly with COVID-19 challenges, we've been forced to, use online platforms for different things to do. So how safe are you? Cybersecurity is what she's going to be handling when we come back. For now, we take that break.